Welcome to the Aligned Business Podcast. I'm your host, Kelsey Kerslake, CEO of personal branding agency, Pinegateroad, and business coach to online service providers, coaches, and educators. I know that you believe that living a great life is so much more than the business that you lead or the money that you make. Each week, we'll dive into what it actually takes to live an aligned life with a business that supports it. Let's do this. This show is brought to you by the Aligned Business Academy. Are you so ready to go all in with your online business and hit six figures this year in a way that feels fulfilling and true to you? Apply now for the Aligned Business Academy. This is our signature program that helps you scale your online business with one-on-one and community support, a framework for learning all things online business, and a proprietary 3-part system for scaling while working way less than you are now. Say hello to more freedom, income, and impact. Apply now at pinegateroad.com/academy. That's pinegateroad.com/academy. Hey there, hope you're having a great day. I'm so excited to have you here with us today. And today marks our first guest of season 5. This is somebody that has been on the show several times before. I'm sure if I said the word guest and you've been listening to the show for a while, you're automatically going to just know who I have on. So it is my best friend, my hiring manager, my former project manager, Megan Baker is here with me today. So I called her on because she has been transitioning into hiring management. She helps online entrepreneurs find perfect fit humans for their business, and she also helps people strategize who they need to hire, what kind of systems they need to get in place, and how can they onboard and really build that dream team that is going to support them into the future, and really build a dream team full of people that are going to stick with you for a while and help you kind of bust through those hiring mistakes that you make. And I was right there. If you've listened to this show for a while, you'll know I hired all of the wrong people at first. It was less about hiring the wrong people. The people I hired were amazing people, but it was more about me investing in the wrong type of support and not really thinking about the long term of my business and getting really serious about how I needed to hire, how my business was running, and who I needed to support me. So if you listen to, I believe it was 2 weeks ago's podcast, I went into my business model, the org chart that I have, and how I have structured my business differently. And this is in big part due to Megan helping me find the right fit people for my business. And I continually bring her in to find team for myself, for my business. And I also love that she does it in a very equitable and diverse way. She brings a lot of equity into her process, which is something that obviously with the whole, world right now and the Black Lives Matter movement has been even more important. It has always been something that I've thought about as I've been hiring and building a team and building a culture in my business. And I know now more than ever, it is so important to be intentional about bringing diversity and equity and inclusion into your hiring process. And Megan has been really good at helping me with that throughout the course of growing my business. So I'm just really thankful for her to do that. We're going to dive into a little bit about that, how to hire a team, what some of the, misconceptions are around hiring team. I see so many people who don't want to manage people. They're so afraid of taking that next step. They don't know when the right time is. And they're fearful that when they hire a team, it is going to be a major expense and not something that's going to actually help them grow. When in fact, it's the very opposite. I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't be able to scale and plan what I'm growing into if it weren't for bringing on team. You can only raise your prices so much, and at the end of the day, in order to scale a business, you really do need to get the right people on board, because you only can raise your prices so high, and you only have so much time in your life and able to do the things that you want to do. So I am a true believer in getting systems and team and automations and raising prices and optimizing your time and all of those good things mixed together. But team seems to be that thing that people are really, really hesitant and scared about. So I brought Meg on today to talk through some of those, just the things that you might be scared of. I was like, here are the things I hear over and over. Can we please dive into this? So I'm really excited to have her on today's call. I'm excited for you to dive into this and, just maybe start thinking about what could be possible if you were to hire support, if you were to be able to simply step into the things that you love doing in your business and have people that fit within your profit margins supporting the rest of your business so that you're doing exactly what you love. And this is literally how I've built my entire team. It has created so much time and space and joy and flow and emotional stability in my business, because team also creates like emotional buffers between you, clients, students, all of those things, which is another really great benefit. It has like helped my emotional sanity so much. So without further ado, let's welcome Meg onto the show and we'll get started. Talk to you soon. Out in the list, and then I actually created how Ashley was doing her job. And that is what the SOP is. So it's like a step-by-step process of how you actually do things within your business. And this is something you supported me with my agency, getting all of those instructions down so that other people could come and support me in the doing of the business. And this was a different kind because this was something that I wasn't doing. And it was something that I knew in order to grow, I wanted to put content out there in a bigger way, and I needed that support. So I created what the perfect vision would look like and then wrote down all of those instructions. And that probably took me like 2 hours.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what did you have to do to light the fire under your ass? Because I feel like sometimes we're like, oh, it needs to be a certain way, or like sometimes we need to put that pressure on ourselves. So I'm just wondering what maybe mindset roadblocks did you have going into it, and how did you just get over them and get it done?
That's a good one, because sometimes I have this mindset block around hiring for things that aren't directly client related, where I'm not getting paid to do this work. So I have to think about the bigger vision for my business. And I have to think, if putting this content out there can support more people and draw more people into my business, then that is what I need to do in order to grow long term. So it's really, I think that is kind of an evolution of hiring, where you can start out with hiring for things that clients are actually paying you for. So when I started out, I was hiring out development for our websites and project management, all of which were project-based fees. So I was just giving a percentage of the project. And so any income coming into the business, any revenue, a portion of that was going out to team. And
which is great for cash flow.
It's awesome for cash flow. And that's honestly how I've scaled my business and been able to manage growing so quickly, I guess, kind of quickly. It's been very up and down. But this was a new thing for me, like actually hiring for the future of my business and not having something directly correlating to a client project. So that honestly, I started small. So I brought on Ashley for 10 hours a month. So that, if you create an hourly rate around that, I'm not going to share salaries on the podcast or anything, but it's not like a huge amount. And so that made me feel really comfortable based on the revenue that we were making as a business, that I would be able to sustain that long term. So it was like dipping my toes into hiring out for something that is not client related.
Right. It's truly an investment. And I know sometimes people get caught up in like, well, what's the ROI of this investment? And it's kind of up to you. Like that time that you have, like it's up to you what that investment is. Because if it's time off of your hands, then it's up to you to create revenue with that
Yeah.
extra time. And I love what you said too about really kind of investing and thinking about the future. And I
Mhm.
feel like that can really light a fire under us to get moving and to take those
Yeah.
risks.
I'm always thinking about like who is that future version of me and what my current thing is because I'm working towards making $1 million in a year. I'm always like, what would $1 million Kelsey do? $1 million Kelsey is not editing her own podcast. She is not doing her own financials. She is not like, well, I probably am posting on Instagram because I seriously love that. And I think it's a fun way
Hmm.
to engage with people. But there's just things that $1 million Kelsey is not doing. And those are the things that I'm starting to now hire out so I can leverage my time.
Right. And imagine with just a little more space what you can do and how
Yeah.
much closer to $1 million Kelsey you can
Hmm.
get.
It's been
Um,
really cool. So as I've kind of stepped into doing less doing within my business, I always talk about how, oh, I work 10 hours a week or blah, blah, blah. And I probably do work 10 hours ish a week, but I actually crave working more. So I'm actually adding more daycare time. And it's because as I've hired out, I've been able to create a lot more time and space to do some of those like dreamy projects that make me feel really, really alive instead of being,
Mhm.
in the details of the doing and doing client contracts and development. And all of those things were holding me back from growing and dreaming into this next level.
Mhm. And I want to point out too, when you're in the weeds of like doing everything in your business and it is time to hire, which is where I am right now, you got to keep your head up and keep going and like get that support and know that you will get relief. I'm at a point now where I'm a service provider doing hiring services, some coaching for people, and I am doing everything right now, which I don't hate, but then I'm just kind of envisioning, I'm in the middle of my own hiring process right now, but I'm just kind of envisioning what it will be like, what relief I will have when I'm not doing every single thing. In part of my client delivery, and I'm just like keep going. It reminds me of like college or high school when you're like summer break, or actually when I was teaching and like summer break is just like 2 weeks away, you can do it, but I couldn't even envision the finish line. But I'm like, you
Yeah.
just got to get through it, and then you'll get some space and everything will be okay. That's where I'm at right now, but I'm prioritizing like client work and getting through it. But it is definitely like an identity shift of like getting some support. And also, I'm spending some of my time really getting my systems down so that when someone comes on, when future assistant
Yes.
comes onto my team, we know what we're doing. And I'm also not getting stuck on things being perfect. Like I'm
Hmm.
just doing Loom videos of my SOPs right now, literally as I'm like scheduling interviews for whatever. I'm just making Loom videos of myself doing it, like just being really aware of like, oh, this is something I'm absolutely handing off. Loom videoing it, not letting it be like perfect or a big deal, but and then just yeah, dreaming about when I won't have to be spending 30 to 45 minutes on this task and what I can be doing to really move my business forward, create a better client experience for the folks I've got. And
Hmm.
you got to dream to get through the weeds
Yes.
sometimes.
I'm going to also mention, so I'm using Ashley as like all of these examples, but we kind of revamped how the podcast was. Well, before I was doing blog posts and now I'm doing the podcast and this video. So I had been envisioning Ashley like helping out with supporting, like getting that out into the world. And it was going to look a little different than the previous SOP that we had. So I had actually been bottlenecking getting her on board because I wasn't sitting down to take those 2 hours to create what this was going to
Mhm.
look like. So finally, the other day, I was on a walk and I Voxered her and I was like, Ashley, this is not perfect. Like, I don't have an SOP for this, but I'm going to brain vomit what I would like to have happen and do it verbally. And can you please take notes and create an SOP from this? So I spent 5 minutes saying, here's what I'd like to happen. I envision like you doing this, this, and this, and like downloading the podcast and turning it into a blog and blah, 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 blah. So literally the next day, she was like on it. And I got this beautiful document from her, and it was like the most perfect SOP ever.
Mm-hmm.
And she just turned my random voice notes that took me 5 minutes into a beautiful SOP. So that was a huge aha for me, being like, oh my gosh, I don't even have to do the SOP. Like I can just brain vomit this verbally, which is my communication style. And then she could create that for me. So it was
And when we
awesome.
were hiring, Ashley, we purposely looked for people and put in your job post, you can take word vomit and make it into words.
Exactly.
So that's no accident that
No.
Ashley can do that.
Yeah, I know. And that's a really cool thing that you bring up because Megan, you have hired pretty much 95% of my team. And they
Yes.
all stick with me for a long time, which is amazing. And we've gotten really good at realizing how I like to work, kind of
Mm-hmm.
my preferences and nuances. Like, I do just like to word vomit at people and have them kind of take it from there. So you helped me bring that into the hiring process to make sure that everybody really could work with me in that way. I was like, if you have to have a scheduled call with me, if you're going to write me long emails, like I can't process it. So,
Right. It's just not your style. And that's why self-awareness is so important too.
mhm.
And
This is
yeah. And
also, can we talk about why referrals don't work?
oh my
So
God.
if you've
I
ever,
made a reel about it yesterday, being like, well, okay, sorry, I'm going to go on a tangent here for a second, but like, yeah, referrals don't always work. Oh, we have a lot. We have many things we can say
yeah,
about that. But also, let's not forget that we as an industry are committing to being more diverse and more equitable and more inclusive. And one way to ensure that you're not being inclusive is to just hire on referrals. And I'm
yeah,
not saying you can't do referrals ever. When it's like short term stuff, like, yeah, referrals come to me, but I'm not on your team long term. But when it comes to long term, it's good to not just
to cast
hire
a
your
wide
brother.
net.
Cast a wide net. And that's, we people get more opportunities that way, because
Yeah,
a lot of times, let's not sugarcoat it, people who look like us quite sometimes get more, okay, a lot of the time get more opportunities, and that's
absolutely.
not okay.
And I love that when you're helping me hire, we don't just look to people in our network and we
Mm-hmm.
look everywhere. And you're doing a really
Everywhere.
great job at helping me diversify my team, and think about those practices as I'm hiring because I want to have a diverse and equitable team and hiring experience. That's really important to me. So
Mm-hmm.
you've been along with me along that journey, helping support that for a long time.
Right. And like, I'm not perfect, I am incredibly privileged and white, but I think it's good for us to have conversations like this and just continue to bring awareness to our privileges,
Mm-hmm.
um, and continue to just have conversations and challenge each other as, as we continue to human
I love
and
that.
business.
And I love that you've been able to support my growth in that
And you've done the
area as
same for
well by just
me.
like opening my eyes to things that I just wouldn't have been like realized before.
And you've shown light on my blind spots too, which I really appreciate. So anyway, let's talk more about why referrals don't always work. I'm going to let you take the lead here, Kels.
Yeah. So I know that a lot of times when you're hiring, you will, not you, but people in general have a tendency to reach out to their friends, other people who have a network who might have people that might do a good job. And first of all, I don't believe that the same person is necessarily a right fit for every single person. Like, that's a huge thing. So it's really important for you to get clear on your personality, what you want your specific job role to do and function in your business, and create it around your unique personality. There's no one way to do anything. No for one first hire that's good. No one like job description that is going to be an end all be all. Like, there's always these nuances. And I think to build a really amazing dream team, you need to get crystal clear on your own nuances, how you like to work, how you like to communicate, the vision that you have for your business, who you want to grow into this role, what you need them to do. And even if you're hiring for something as simple as 10 hours per month, like I did with Ashley at first, we were really crystal clear on this. And now she's able to take on more hours and grow in the company because we're really clear on the bigger visions we're both working towards.
Absolutely. And another thing you need to look out for too is possible conflicts of interest.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you are growing a business, probably someone who wants a business identical to yours is not someone who's going to last long term. So it's important to think about that
Yeah.
longevity too. But
And
I love
people
that
that
you
are referrals are usually people who either have agents,
entrepreneurial.
entrepreneurial, they have they're usually hiring for like a one-off thing. So if you want to hire somebody who's going to be a bigger part of your company, you probably don't want them to have like all of these clients. Like they're usually, you want to have somebody who's going to be working with you, specifically you, for a long time. And they're probably not going to be as known or referred from before. So that's why actually going through the hiring process and casting that wide net to find amazing talent, you're going to uncover a lot of hidden gems, which I think is like how my team was built.
Right. Because not every talented human out there is necessarily going to have the website or is necessarily going to want a bunch of clients all the time. And that's not to say you can't hire people who have other clients. Of course you need to. Like, we're not hiring full-time employees right now. But yeah, I love that you mentioned like the people who are mostly referred or the people who are mostly visible. That does not represent the talent that is actually out there. So It's really important to look at different revenue, or not different revenues, different streams, different avenues to find people. And I'm always trying to keep my eyes open of new ways to recruit folks and use many different strategies to cast that net.
Yeah.
Because there's so much talent out there that people don't realize. I just got off a kickoff call yesterday with my client who's also wanting marketing support. And she was like, does this person exist that we kind of envisioned? I'm like, absolutely. Like, you'll be amazed at how many people apply, how hard it will be to narrow it down when we interview, how difficult it will be to choose just one.
Yeah.
And that
Let's also talk about how I get this from not all of, but many of my clients who are looking to hire for the first time. And they have a hard time wrapping their head around the fact that people out there don't want to be entrepreneurial. Because I know for myself, like, I'm such an entrepreneur, like, they have a hard time thinking that somebody wants to work for like a very normal hourly rate. They don't want to scale to these like multi-$6 million levels. And there's plenty of people who like want some flexibility in their schedule, but want to work like regular hours and get that paycheck regularly. And people like that are out there. I promise you.
Totally. Because let's not forget, everybody, entrepreneurship, while it's like cool when you get your 10K months or whatever, it's also really hard and it's risky, and we're never not working. Even if we're not working, we're still thinking in the shower, on our walks.
Never shuts off.
My brain doesn't either.
I'm all encompassed in this.
Yeah, I had to take some melatonin last night to shut off my brain hole for a minute.
I'm on sleep medicine because my brain will not shut off.
We're investing all the dollars back into our businesses, and we're having to do a lot of like visibility, marketing. We have to wear a lot of hats, and there are people who want to support your business. They want to be part of your growth, but they don't want to be the ones necessarily in the limelight or the ones having to think about stuff all the time. But they're so skilled in areas that we need support in, like operations. And I'd love to talk to for a second, another tangent about this marketing thing. I feel like so often people are like, I need marketing help, and they just want people to write copy for them. Okay, like if you want to have copy written for you for like a specific funnel or for your website, I think that's awesome. If you want to hire out social media copy, I think that's fine too. And what I see a lot though is that people like you, Kelsey, and a lot of my clients are so brilliant in the marketing and so brilliant like that it's hard to get your voice because your voice is so uniquely yours. But as soon as you have a little bit of space, if you're not the one scheduling things and planning or, editing everything or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
when you get that little bit of space, you get this beautiful original content, and then you can hand off the time consuming parts of proofreading, of
Totally.
like formatting. And that's the stuff that is really easy to hand off, but you're going to find people are going to find and have found that it's hard to like nail your voice. It's because your voice is your voice, and a lot of your
Mm-hmm.
strategy and a lot of your words need to come originally from you. But then it comes to finding people who can repurpose your content, proofread, and then do the tech things by like getting it in your ConvertKit and formatting it.
Yeah, I
That
believe
stuff
this
that
too. And I just want to talk about how we don't need to also be content machines. So, one of
mm-mm,
the things I'm learning about is creating amazing content and then leveraging paid advertising to get it out to new people. So, we don't
love.
have to be these people who are like every single week pumping out content all of the time, all of the things. And yes, I'm doing this podcast. Like, it has more impact to me to be able to like connect with people and have these conversations beyond just putting out content every week. So what I'm learning is that I can work hard once, create amazing content, and then actually leverage that within my sales funnel and my marketing systems and be able to create paid advertisements that
Mm-hmm.
then put that out to the world and get people working through my business model.
I love that. And that's once you have organic content that converts, that is
Mm-hmm.
really good. But
Right. It's
I
like, and I
love
can take
that.
like a best, I can put it out into the world and do one of my newsletters. Like I get replies back from this one newsletter all the time. And I've actually put it back into my funnel, and I continue to get more replies from more people that are coming onto my list from the advertisements that I'm doing. And it's just like, yes, I did that one piece of content. It's going to continue to work for me in front of new people because it's just really, I think it's really engaging and really good. So, yeah, you can test that kind of stuff and put the best of
hmm
the best into your ongoing recurring funnels.
Love that.
All right. So, Meg, thank you. I know our time is kind of ending here. You've got to
Oh
run to another
no.
meeting, but I'd love
Oh,
to.
oh,
Do you have do you have any
oh.
last things that you want to share about hiring your dream team?
Let me see.
Basically, just
I've,
hire you, right?
I mean, yes. Or don't, or do, um,
Yeah.
or do. I guess I want to say hire when it hurts. Like when your business is doing you've landed on the business model that's working for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when you're just kind of at capacity and that you just need help. And even if it's scary and even if you hire wrong the first couple times, like that's okay. Like
Oh yeah.
you're gonna
That fear
learn.
of that you've done it wrong before. I
You
did
kind of
that
have
too.
to. You
I
kind of
I did it, and I hired VAs for things that I thought I wanted to get done, but I was being the bottleneck. So I wasn't getting things out to them. So I was just bleeding money. And
hmm
it was really important for me to get a really solid business model. And by that, I mean, your little funnel where it's the top is how you're marketing, and then the offers that you have that work people in through your business model. And until
hmm
I got that really solid and then realized like, what are all of the duties that people need to do within each part of my business model, that was when I was able to be like, oh, here's what I don't want to be doing, and here's what I need to do to hand off things.
Right. And I think it's so important too to hand things off that are actually on your plate. Not always. I mean, for you, Kelsey, like you needed to hand off some like content creation stuff that you weren't necessarily
Later on.
doing.
But at first
Right.
it
Later
was stuff
on.
that I was physically having to get done that I just needed off my plate.
Right. Because you need that space in order
Mm-hmm.
to do that, like creating and going to the next step. And like also don't be so hard on yourself if like you don't have the right hire at first. Like I don't know about you, Kelsey, but maybe I've had like past boyfriends before I found my current spouse. And like, I kind of had to learn from
Yeah,
each one about like what I needed in a partner or whatever.
absolutely. So
Remember I
kind of
dated your
here's,
cousin that one time? It didn't work out, but I'm like, oh, he's really nice. Now I need a nice person. Cool. It's okay that it's not perfect. And of course, if you want support in all of it, if you're just done not hiring aligned people, I love matchmaking and picking up on
yeah.
those nuances and
And even
helping
if
you.
you're feeling overwhelmed, Meg has been like, you do coaching around this and the
Mhm.
hiring. So if you're
Yep.
feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed and I don't even know who to hire or what to hire out or how to organize this all, and you're just like, all of the work, then Meg is your human.
Yes, I am. And it's nice to not do it all by yourself.
Yes. Okay, so there's one last thing that's been floating in my head this whole entire conversation. And I
Tell
just want to
me.
say success is in the rest. And
Yes,
so I
honey.
think that like growth comes from being able to recharge and rest and have some of those like geniusy ideas. And so every time I've been able to create more time and space for me to rest and recharge has been when I've been able to experience a huge upsurge and a huge growth. So I think that's just going to be like a little mantra that I have in my head, that success is in the rest. So when you can like build more rest into your days, into your life, into your business, you're going to find more success because you have that time and space to like actually grow instead of just like hustling and burning out.
And that's why one of my big things is make room for space. Like
Mm-hmm.
we need that space to get that rest. Why do you think you get your best ideas in the shower? Because your
Yep.
brain has a little bit of space. And
Mm-hmm.
in order for us to make room for that space, we have to do hard things. Sometimes like delegate and like
Yeah.
trust people to help us with our business. And like that's what I want to support. That's what I support my people with, is making those kind of big scary moves to create room for the rest
Mm-hmm.
and the
Absolutely.
space.
And that's what you really supported me in my business. Like I had that vision, but then I didn't know. I feel like I've been able to figure out the ways to do it, but you've really supported me in like organizing it and hiring the really ideal right people and helping me think through a lot of my own personality traits in a
Mm-hmm.
way that has allowed me to hire the right people to support me. So
Yeah.
thank you.
And I would like to say, you're really excellent at holding that vision. So like, I'm good at like figuring out like, this is what you need, but I appreciate, how you've always been able to kind of hold this higher vision for everyone you work with
Oh
and
yeah.
me. And it really helps me like get through the weeds when I'm kind of in a grindy moment. And like, I appreciate
Like,
you
why
for
is this
that.
worth it kind of thing. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And like, what if I'm
What
just
is,
gonna do this? And you're always like, but imagine if you had this offering you could make. And it's like, oh yeah. Like I just love so much how you can hold this vision, not only for yourself, but for your best friend in the whole wide world, me, and for everyone you work with. So that's what helps us get through these kind of challenging moments and give us like the courage and like the fire under our asses to do what we need to do in order
yeah.
to get there.
Yeah,
So thank you for that.
I totally see that. I definitely thrive in the vision and like
Mm-hmm.
the big picture of where we're heading and just seeing what possibilities could be. And that gets me so excited.
And
The
and
other
you
day
hold
I
that for
rested.
everyone, and it's
Yep.
wonderful.
The other day I rested for an hour and I was feeling pretty overwhelmed, but I was like, Kelsey, just go lay in bed and like vision out your future. So I sat there and I just like went through my day and I was like, what would my mornings look like? What would my house look like? What would the knobs on my doors look like? And like, where would the kids be? And who would be supporting me? And what would I be eating for breakfast? And it was just like the most fun to dream that out. And then I'm like creating all of the business practices and the life experiences and able to support that vision. But I have to get really crystal clear on that vision. And I just have so much fun, like thinking about that and having that brain space to just
Mm-hmm.
vision.
Where people like me and some of my clients are like, I can't even imagine what I want for breakfast. Or I remember doing some visioning with a coach a couple of years ago. I'm like, I don't know. I want a house and a bob stroller. I have those things now. So I'm just like, hey, Kelsey, what's in the cards for me in my future?
We'll have a visioning session soon.
Sounds great.
Well, thank you, Megan, for coming on the show once
Thanks,
again.
Kelsey.
And
this fills my heart whole, so thank you.
Do you hear Todd?
Hi, Todd.
He's yelling and eating. I don't know what's going on. But where can people get a hold of you, Mego?
You can find me on Instagram. That's Instagram at megkco. You can also find me on the internet at megkco.com.
Thank you so much. And we're just having a big old party here. I think the nanny just came back home with Carter and Todd, and now Eaton's going crazy. So welcome to the Curse Lake.
This is working from home, everybody. Welcome to our lives.
All right. Thanks for coming on today. And goodbye, everybody. Have a wonderful week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you've enjoyed the show, please take a few seconds right now to leave a rating and review on iTunes. It's so simple and helps us so much. This is incredibly helpful for getting this show into more ears so that we can make even more impact. I'm sending you so much love. I hope you have an amazing week. You've got this.